This video is sponsored by War Thunder.
Are you in love?
I am in love. Are you in love?
I'm in love too.
I agree. Hey, guys! This tiny thing is now a wolf, everybody!
What is that?
What's happening?
We're keeping it.
Back of the pack. We're keeping it.
Okay, thank you.
Ba-dum-ba-bum-ba-bum-ba-bum. Leman Russ in your area.
Bark, bark. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Explaining Warhammer to My Girlfriend. My name is Ava, and joining me as always is my lovely significant other, Kari.
Hello, how's everyone?
Bark, bark.
Bark, bark.
It's
boof.
time. Are you ready to howl at the moon?
Woo! I'm just like Shakira. There's a she-wolf in the closet. I'm not in the closet. I came out in high school.
We're out.
We're loud.
Today,
Woo! Sorry.
Today, we will be discussing Leman Russ,
Oh.
Primarch of the Space Wolves.
Finally.
I was trying to lead that into other things.
Okay, so not the moon wolves. Lunar wolves.
The Luna Wolves.
Luna or lunar?
Luna.
Oh.
No, this is the Space Wolves guy.
Okay, cool.
So, we go from Primarch of the Luna Wolves straight to the Space Wolves.
Yeah, no one's gonna get confused.
No confusion here. Nope.
Especially not me. I always know what's going on.
Wait till we get to the Blood Angels, and then the Dark Angels, and Angron, who is called the Red Angel.
It's okay. Didn't one of them get taken out by the guy who tried to get the Tyranids to take a different path?
It got really munched by Tyranids, but it's still here.
Munch.
Yeah.
Delicious.
It got nibbled on.
Aw, I love a snack.
Before we get into it, if you would like to support us, head on over to patreon.com/numbskulls, where you can get all sorts of access to things like a private Discord, bloopers if they happen, early episodes, submitted questions to be read on the show, and much, much more. That's all over at patreon.com/numbskulls. And if you'd like some cool merch, head on over to orchid8.com. We've got a great selection of items like the Bones of Chaos shirt series.
Oh.
We're trying to see if we can get those made into posters.
Yeah, we think they would be very cool posters. Or anything else.
Yeah, just have like a little collection.
If you guys have ideas, let us know.
Yeah,
If you guys
please
want,
do.
like, I don't know, washcloths.
Rubber duckies.
Aw, that'd be cute. What if we could get it made so that, you know, those like little, like, you dig up dinosaur little activities for kids where they give you like a little pick?
There's Tyranids. There's a Necron.
Well, I was thinking the bones, but a Necron would be really cool.
A Necron would be funny, and he's like really angry.
He's like, you open up his little coffin lid and he's like, and closes it again. He's like, I don't want to go.
If you want to check out our merch, head on over to orchid8.com. Link all in the description. And
Down there.
if you like what we do, give us a like, subscribe, praise the algorithm. My love.
Hi.
What do you know about Leman Russ?
Okay.
And the Space Wolves at large?
I know that he is the daddy space wolf.
Daddy Wolf.
Daddy
That's right.
Wolf. And he's got Jormungandr? No. Thormanir? No. Okay. Norse. Vibes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
the Norse vibe Space Marines.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, beer.
Yes.
Beer.
You are aware because Alex really likes Space Wolves.
They're Alex's favorite faction.
Yeah. And that makes sense. A lot of people really like the Space Wolves because they have a really deep, intricate culture.
Yeah.
And it's a really easy onboarding process too, because it's just, what are they? They're Vikings in space.
Yeah.
That's it.
Alex finds a lot of connection with, like, Viking mythology.
Oh yeah.
Norse mythology. That kind of thing. Like, he has a whole tattoo that is, like,
The runes and stuff.
the tree of life going into, like, the whole story being told down his arm is like a quarter sleeve, and it's really freaking rad. So it makes a lot of sense that he likes these guys.
Yeah.
Thus, I have heard of them and seen them before.
They're really cool. And we've also mentioned several times that like Space Wolves are kind of sort of the odd ones out when it comes to comparing them to their other Space Marine brethren, where your typical Ultramarine, your regular blueberry spaceman, they are pretty by the book.
Right.
Not a whole lot to the imagination. You give them a mission, they do it.
Right.
Space Wolves know how to have fun.
Party. Yeah.
They know how to party. They make their own beer that only they can drink, because if you or I drank it, my love, we would die.
Aw.
We would like melt. Space Marines can't get drunk, but Space Wolves found a way around it.
They're like, what if we just drink
battery acid?
Formaldehyde.
I need formaldehyde in my veins. Put it in me now.
Alcohol is basically just a toxin. Like, that's what being drunk is. It is like being impaired. So you just almost yourself just a little bit, just a little, as a treat.
Just a little bit, in little micro dosages. That dude in The Princess Bride with the poisons?
Yeah, it's literally that. You're building a tolerance.
It's just that, but like for a lifetime.
Also, Kari Els is that dude. Quote unquote, that dude.
Sorry, it's been a minute.
As you wish. Oh.
He's very hot.
Okay, listen. I think Alex would leave us. Like, that's his ticket.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Alex would leave us? Whoa.
For Kari Els?
Yeah. No, I don't blame him. I'm just like,
we would hope he would bring him into the polycule, obviously, because he's fabulous. But listen, if it's that or nothing, like, I don't blame him. I'm gonna be like, please invite us to Thanksgiving.
Go get him, champ.
And then, I don't know, I guess we go try to snag Michelle Rodriguez.
Fair enough. Katie Maloney.
Look, guys, look at this. Gorgeous.
A goddess.
Oh my god. I can't even. She's so good. Anyway.
My love.
Hi.
Let me tell you about the Russ.
Oh, the Russ.
On the planet Fenris,
right,
there are many tales of the Russ.
But there's no wolves.
Some say it's a ferocious storm.
Oh.
Or perhaps it's an ancient giant, the last of its kind. Others say it's a black wolf that serves as a dark omen.
Oh.
But some, very few, claim the Russ was simply a man who became king.
Oh.
Welcome to Fenris.
Fenris.
Fuck this place.
Oh no.
This place sucks.
Why?
It is a ice planet.
Okay.
That is almost uninhabitable.
Okay.
It is classified by the Imperium officially as a death world, which is a classification of planet that means it is so inhospitable, it's not advised that you live there, but people do anyway because, well, I mean, you don't choose where you're born.
I assume murder is another death world.
Yes. Yes, it is.
We love naming things.
We love naming things. So Fenris is a planet that is constantly frozen over.
Okay.
It's got a lot of ice storms, large, dire wolves.
Mariah Carey is somewhere in an ice block in a cave.
The culture around Fenris with its people is very heavy Norse vibes, as we mentioned earlier. They've got like mead halls. There are Draugr just in the woods that come and hunt you down.
Less cool.
You know, it's the whole shebang. Think of Norse mythology. It's the planet is the Norse mythology. You know what I mean?
Right. And this guy is that TikTok of the man jumping into...
Oh, the dude with the axes.
With the axes.
Oh! And
that was him in his little pod, jumping into Fenris.
Yeah, essentially.
He's like, you want testosterone? Hold my axe.
You mentioned something about wolves?
Oh, yeah. Every time we talk about this guy, you smirk at me and say there are no wolves on Fenris.
Well, you know, there are no wolves on Fenris.
And I go, what does that mean? And then you smirk at me and say, we'll get to it.
We'll talk about it this episode.
Okay.
But later. There are no wolves on Fenris.
Okay, but I see them right there. You've got a little picture?
Yeah.
Those look like wolves to me.
We'll talk about it later.
Are they not called wolves? Is that why?
No.
Is it like dwarves and dwarfs?
Let's get into Leman Russ's backstory.
Okay, cool.
We have a lot more to talk about this time than we did with Horus, because Horus, it was like one short story, but with Leman Russ, there's a bit more to it, and it's less shrouded in mystery.
A lot of people really like Leman, like fan-wise.
Yes. Leman Russ is really cool.
Like, he's got a big, like, people like Horus, because, you know, obviously he's important.
He's the guy. He's Mr. Heresy.
But, like, I've seen people like Gilliman. They like Gilliman.
Canoe.
They like Canoe. And I've seen people like Leman as well. And I've seen people like, I almost said Sagittarius. Sanguinius, right? And if you like magic, you like Magnus. I mean, obviously people just like the various ones, except for some of them. But like, he seems like one of the fan favorites.
Yes, people really like the Space Wolves, and they really like Leman Russ.
And the one that's like a lion. People really like him.
The lion.
Lionel
Johnson.
Yeah, okay, right. I gotta come up with little images. Like when I was learning about the human brain, I had to be like, hippocampus. The hippo goes to your campus to remember things, to learn things. And so now I know what a hippocampus is and what it does. But I gotta do this with all of the spacey guys.
It's okay, we'll make a tarot card deck.
Yeah, guys, we're plotting.
We got plans.
We got
for merch.
plans. Planets. Fenris is a planet. Oh!
So oftentimes Primarchs, they're like celebrities in terms of war.
Yeah.
That's a weird way to put it, but you know what I mean. The Imperial Guard, who are like the normal humans of the setting in the Warhammer world, they have tanks or weapons or stuff that are named after Primarchs.
Oh.
So there's like the Rogel Dorn tank and so on and so forth.
And that's just the different makes.
Yeah, it's just a different type of tank. You know, actually there's a tank called the Leman Russ. Funny enough. Yeah. Tanks are pretty cool.
Listen, if you gotta get something done, it's basically a big shield with a big gun. That's pretty
true.
Cool. The only problem is though, like, you can't see what happens to the guys inside of the other tank.
Well, you can.
What?
What if I told you could? With today's sponsor, War Thunder! Featuring over 2,500 fully customizable vehicles of 10 major nations, ranging from biplanes, trucks, jets, and tanks throughout history, with realistic graphics and sound effects. Every vehicle is modeled down to the tiniest detail. And the best part, you can blow them up over and over again, seeing exactly what happened with the game's X-ray view, seeing exactly where shells penetrate, what components are affected, and most importantly, how the crew was cooked like a crab. And crabs is bugs. Now is the perfect time to get into War Thunder with the brand new Seek and Destroy update, adding active radar homing missiles and detailed radar mechanics, as well as aircraft for Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. War Thunder is optimized to run on almost any system lag-free without sacrificing sound quality or graphics. You know, in case you have to turn on your computer with a screwdriver. There are already over 70 million people playing and blowing up things without you in PvP right now. Play War Thunder for free. Sign up on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox using the link in the pinned comment or description. For a limited time, new and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will be able to get a bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles, an exclusive decorator, the Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account access. Thank you so much to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the wolves. So, one day, on the planet Fenris,
cool,
a pod crashed somewhere in the barren snowfields.
Right.
And was found by a pack of wolves. Inside the pod was a baby.
Aww.
This wolf pack took in this baby.
Right.
And sort of like a Jungle Book situation, they raised the baby and they lived happily together in the fields of Fenris, raiding villages for food and staying together through the harsh storms. They had a happy little wolf family.
I was thinking like Rome, Romulus, and...
Oh, Romulus and Remus?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also that vibe as well.
Just in the sense of literally being raised by wolves.
Yeah. Well, the Romulus and Remus comparison is actually really apt, considering that's like, you know, the origin myth of the Roman Empire, and what is the Imperium if not a Roman Empire in space?
Yeah.
You know?
But I guess it would make more sense if it was the Emperor.
The Emperor being raised by wolves?
Yeah. Just if you were making that direct comparison. But yeah, Bro's got a wolf mom.
Bro's got a wolf mom. He's got wolf siblings. And during one of the worst winters Fenris had seen in years, the wolf pack became desperate. They were running out of food.
Oh.
And so they decided to raid the largest village that they could find.
Okay.
And the people of the village,
the Umis,
fought back. They managed to kill a lot of wolves in the pack.
I know.
And the king of this village, Thengir, rushed to join in the fight, only to find a boy fighting off his men with vicious ferocity. The boy was shot, captured, and brought into the hall before King Thengir.
Okay.
And the king decided to take in the wild child and raise him as his own. And for the next few years, they taught him to speak, to fight, to forge, and a whole lot more. How to be a citizen.
Right. This kid is going to have some attachment issues.
Well, weirdly, this kid took to these new skills super easily.
Right.
And developed an aggressive, if not aggressively friendly attitude.
Oh, interesting.
He will meet people and they'll be like, ooh, I don't like your vibe. And he's like, I'll make you my friend.
Okay.
He's as likely to punch you as he is to have a drink with you. He's aggressive, but he's like the warrior Viking kind of stereotype.
Yeah. He's like a bro.
He's a jock. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a good vibe to have.
If he feels threatened in a parking lot, the shirt's coming off. But he will also buy a round of beers.
Yeah, he'll get super amped up and super hyped up, and he'll be like, bro, come on, let's go. And someone will be like, hey, Leman, you need to calm down. And he'll be like, yeah, you're right, bro. Yeah, you're right. And they all get along. They're all chill.
Be like, sorry about that time I said cash me outside.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, bro. I'm getting a lot of betrayal vibes from your broski.
Did somebody say brewski?
The boy grew into a man at shocking speed and was so large and fierce that he could make enemies flee with a growl, lift trees with his strength, and wrestle mammoths.
That's a visual.
Yeah.
He's just like gnawing on its toe.
For all of this effort, the king decided to give the boy a name. Leman of the Russ.
Wait, we didn't start with that? You had this kid for like 5 years, and what are you calling him? Boy? Dog kid?
Yeah, like the Kratos method. Boy.
Yeah, but that kid has a name.
Boy, go wrestle that mammoth. Listen, he calls his kid boy way more than his actual name.
Oh, fair enough. Anyway, Leman of the Russ.
Go wrestle that mammoth, boy.
What is the Russ?
Oh, like wolves.
Oh, it's
Leman of the wolves.
Okay.
One day, the king grew ill.
Oh.
And the time had come to choose a successor. And there was no question, no objections. Leman Russ would be the next king. The years that followed were prosperous. Leman Russ was a great king, becoming even more of a legend, partying, fighting, and drinking as he pleased. And during one party, there was a knock at the door.
Uh-oh, this is familiar.
And everyone fell silent as the doors to the hall swung open, and a hooded stranger stood in the doorway. He entered the hall, stopping at the foot of Leman's throne. Leman demanded to know who this was, barging into his hall during a time of celebration. The stranger looked up and said, I am the master of mankind.
Uh-huh.
Leman Russ laughed. And laughed and laughed and laughed. The audacity of this stranger to come into his hall, interrupt his feast, and claim that he was this master of mankind. The audacity, the arrogance to say this before the king.
Right.
The stranger offered to take Leman away from here, to show him the wonders beyond this world, to bring him to the very stars above and further beyond. This, admittedly, piqued Leman's curiosity. But he was the king. What would his people do if he was gone? He thought long and hard, until he smiled a wolfish grin. Very well, he said. I will go with you, if you can best me at 3 trials of my choice. The stranger accepted this, and Leman Russ shot up out of his chair and yelled, Feast!
He's just gonna have an eating contest with this?
That's the first trial.
Okay.
Right away, members of the hall quickly gathered a mountain of food. Russ sat across from the stranger, and they began. Eventually, the stranger lost, and the crowd cheered for their king. And then the second trial began. Drink, Leman cried, and cups of mead were brought to the tables. And after many, many cups, the stranger gave up, and the crowd cheered once more for their king. And then came the final trial.
Wait, why are we continuing? He's already lost.
Well, we're caught up in it now.
I guess.
It's the tradition.
You gotta beat me at 3 trials. You've lost 2.
Well, hold that thought. The final trial was a trial by combat.
Right.
Leman Russ retrieved his battle axe and turned to face the stranger. The stranger, in response, just stood there. But Leman Russ took this as an exception, and the fight began. With a roar, Leman Russ charged towards the stranger. His axe was caught. And the stranger grew, and grew, and grew. Now the fight really began.
You should have done this while eating.
He just got bigger. More space.
They would have been like, oh.
I guess the stranger didn't want to like show his hand too early, I guess. Maybe this was sort of a enough, I'm done playing your game kind of moment. Hours went by until Leman charged one last time. The Emperor saw an opening and struck the Wolf King across the room, crashing into his throne. Leman stood up, kneeled, and admitted defeat. So he realized in that one moment,
right?
Oh, this dude is for real.
Sure.
He's not hyping himself up saying he's the master of mankind. This is the real deal.
Okay. But he's still lost.
And so, well, technically, yes, 2 out of 3.
This is the difference between wolves and fae. Because you still lost. You have not met the terms of the contract. I'm staying here.
But the thing is, you know, Leman Russ, he respects a lot of things, but more than anything, he respects strength.
Except his own rules.
He respects strength more than anything.
Not strength in an eating contest.
No.
Not strength in a drinking contest.
No, fighting.
He's just one whap across the face, and he's like, oh yeah, okay.
So, the Emperor takes Leman Russ, and they start to go back to Terra. In the meantime, he's filling him in on all the situations, you know, the whole empire, and he's like a god, but not really, though.
Don't worry about it, I'm just a golden dude, don't worry about that. You've got like a bunch of brothers, and you know, like your mom, we don't talk about her, you know, all this stuff. Let's go back home.
We don't talk
Leman.
about air. Wait, so where we are right now?
We're on the way to Terra.
Obviously, Horus has been found.
Yes, so this is 10 years after Horus has been found.
Have any others been found? Or is this like number 2's coming home?
Leman Russ is number 2.
Okay, cool. But Amps knows that there are other brothers out there.
Yeah, he's like filling him in on like,
dude, we're gonna do a great crusade. You've got other brothers out there. We're gonna go find them. It's gonna be great.
Woo!
And Leman's like, oh, sure, dude.
Okay, cool.
So they go back to Terra, where Leman Russ was given the 6th Legion.
Okay.
The Space Wolves.
Very cool.
During this time, he also met up with Horus.
What up, bro?
Who did not like Leman.
What a surprise.
Horus saw Leman's aggressive nature to be described as savage.
Yeah.
But Leman saw Horus and was like, you're gonna be my friend.
Where else do we see the dynamic of the younger child liking the older child, where the older child doesn't like the younger child? Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Most siblings.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
At least in younger age. This was me and my sister's whole dynamic.
Oh.
I was like, I want to be just like you. And she was like, get back in the closet.
Oh, no. So, Leman Russ officially joined the Great Crusade, leading his legion proudly.
Wait, what about his planet? He has to be king.
So, the fun thing about Fenris,
yeah.
Leman Russ takes vacations quite often.
Sure.
And just goes and hangs out in Fenris.
You gotta survive your hangover somehow.
Yeah. So, like, sometimes he'll be like, yo, Dad, I'm gonna take, like, a month off. And his dad is like, you know what, Leman, you've done some good shit. Go.
Oh, that's nice.
And so he goes and like takes a vacation in Fenris.
So the Imperium has better vacation days than America?
Probably.
I bet they get paternity leave. Because I was going to ask during this contest thing, because you said he was interested in going, but he was like, I got like responsibilities here.
Yes.
Like it would also make sense for him to like declare a temporary seat holder and then just like communicate with them.
I imagine the idea is because Fenris would now be under Imperial like protection,
okay.
He wouldn't have to worry about like, oh, my people are gonna starve. And it's like, no, we're sending supplies to Fenris.
Right.
Don't worry, your people will be fine. They just have to survive everything else.
Right.
Everything else on the planet still sucks, but...
And they have, like, contact and stuff.
Yeah, they probably have contact. They'll be fine.
Like, were there psychers on Fenris?
Hold that thought.
Okay.
About psychers, because the Space Wolves have a bit of a relationship with psychers.
I always have hold that thought.
It's
That's all
true.
I'm ever thinking. I'm like, what about the magic, though? Where's the magic? Me trying somebody's food. Where's the magic, though?
Where is it? So, like the Luna Wolves, Horus's guys, once they found Leman Russ, the Space Wolves now come from Fenris. They're recruited from there. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, they're pretty good warriors.
Yeah.
Because their planet literally sucks. They have to be strong in order to survive in the first place.
Harsh environment.
You got a harsh environment, you're going to get pretty tough warriors.
Yeah, the best of the best survive because it's like Spartans.
Survival of the fittest. Let's talk about some quirks with Leman Russ.
Okie dokie.
Leman Russ actually reunited with his wolf pack.
Aww!
And he took 2 of his surviving wolf siblings, Freki and Kari, and took them on the Great Crusade with him.
Does he pet the dog?
He does pet the dogs. It cannot be stated enough how fucking massive these wolves are, by the way.
Damn.
Because they're dire wolves.
Dismembering those guys. What
yeah, they're literally
boys.
like bigger than Space Marines.
Babies.
They're babies.
You guys.
Freki is the aggressive one.
Okay.
Kari is the stoic one.
Yeah.
But they're both like weirdly smart.
That's cool that they're named that because those are the names of the wolves that follow Odin around.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's
That's
also
cool.
got puppers.
You got the puppy.
You got the puppy.
Last thing about them, Freki is a black wolf, or like a very dark brown.
Okay.
Kari is the white wolf.
Very cool.
Yeah, they're super cool. I like them
And they're
a lot.
good boys.
They're good boys. Kari, I think, is a girl.
Oh,
So, you got...
Gary the girl.
Both.
That's cute. I like that.
Gary.
I love girls
Gary.
that have like really like commonly male names. I think it's so cute.
Well, also, I need to specify, I'm probably like horribly butchering this pronunciation, but
No,
like, I
but
don't
like
know.
you and I read that name as Gary, right?
Yes, Freki and Kari.
Yeah. Anyway, very cool. I love puppers.
So, when Leman Russ goes to fight, not only does he have his space wolves behind him, he has his literal wolves next to him.
No big deal.
They fight pretty effectively. Leman is described to fight with controlled anger,
Yeah.
in contrast to someone like Angron who fights with uncontrolled rage.
Yeah. My brain is coming up with the image of, Princess Mononoke, those wolves. Very that.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good visual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gigantic wolves that are like incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
In terms of his like controlled anger thing, it really does remind me of a character like Kratos, where in the original trilogy, he's like, just incredibly fuck-ass mad.
Fuck-ass
And...
But he learns to control it.
Yeah, when he's older and he's got the beard and the kid, he's literally teaching his kid, like, yes, use anger as a weapon, but don't let it take over you.
Anger is an energizing emotion.
Yes.
But you don't want it to push you as opposed to you using it. It would be like your car's engine pushing your car forward without you putting your foot on the pedal. You should be allowing it out as you want.
Whereas Angron, who we have not talked about yet, is just the complete opposite. He's just a berserk rage everywhere. I have a quote here.
Okay.
That I think really perfectly describes Leman Russ's fighting style.
Yeah.
And it's beautifully written. This is from The Vengeful Spirit, written by Graham McNeil.
Okay.
Mighty beyond all sense of the word, Leman Russ was a tsunami that starts far out to sea and builds its power over thousands of kilometers as it draws near the shore. His physical form was the instant before impact, and all who looked upon him knew it. Bro is a force to be reckoned with.
Graham McNeil here got some of the poetry wine that Odin stole.
Bro is spitting! God damn
bro.
Dude. Leman Russ defeated an entire horde of orcs, in which he was gifted a fortress called the Fang.
Cool.
It's just a giant citadel fortress. And he was also gifted a thing called the Spear of Russ.
Not a rusty spear.
No, just a spear that's like,
Because that would be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. So, fun fact.
Yeah.
Leman Russ fucking hated this weapon.
Oh no!
He hated using the spear so fucking much. There were lots of situations of him forgetting and misplacing it in various places.
No!
So there would be situations where, like...
Wait, but you know what would be funny?
He's in a battlefield And he's like, oh, thank God, I finally got rid of it. And then like MP comes down and he's like,
hey son, you forgot this in the war room.
And he's like, no.
No, that's funny though, because it's almost like, Odin's spear, how it always comes back to him.
Yes.
It's like that, but it's like a bad thing.
It's like, I don't like this thing. And it's like, here it is.
Oh my God, that's really funny.
It's so funny. Eventually, he got so sick of just like, dropping it and then it would come back to him that he just gave it to one of his sons so that he wouldn't have to fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
He's a guy by the name of Bjorn who I think by 40k, I think he's the oldest Space Marine. Don't quote me on that. I know he's one of the oldest. He's in a dreadnought.
What about
that
guy who's like Erda's bodyguard? Is he a
Space
Marine?
He's like a prototype. We'll talk about Leetu in his own dedicated episode. I think Leetu's really interesting.
Yeah, totally.
Or maybe not a dedicated episode. There's not too much about him. But what I mean to say is like...
He'll come up.
Yeah, he'll come up later.
Yeah, cool. Bjorn is another name that... They're obviously just taking from Norse.
They're just taking Norse names. Bjorn's really funny because when we talked about dreadnoughts briefly in the Custodes episode, I think, someone brought up Bjorn one time an Inquisitor was talking to him and the Inquisitor realized that they were talking to Bjorn.
Right.
Like, oh my God, it's Bjorn. And they took a knee and Bjorn was like,
don't do that, stand up, I'm just a guy.
Aww. He's high Bjorn.
I think that moment's actually really good to describe how the Space Wolves are personality-wise. Like, they are pretty chill when it comes to most things, but then in battle, it's scary.
Yeah. It's very stark in the sense of like...
Yeah. I mean, even the wolf
motif, but the sense of like the Starks are all about like honor. Mm-hmm. And so like generally they're nice people. Mm-hmm. But like if they have to get something done,
they will.
And it's the right thing to do, they're going to fucking do it.
They also have a reputation of, I mentioned earlier, they respect strength above all else. So if they get the vibe of like, oh, you're kind of weak, like they'll treat you like shit. But the moment you prove to them like, oh, I'm strong, they'll be like, oh, I'm with you 100%. I'm ride or die with you.
Now, is that a consistent thing or is that you're strong now, so I'm with you now? Or like, let's say somebody was like super strong, so they were respected and then like their legs got cut off. Like, are they still going to respect them now that they can't?
I mean, Bjorn's in a dreadnought and he's still incredibly respected.
Well, yeah, but he has been given an accommodation. Like if you retire.
Okay. Let's say a Space Marine can retire for this scenario.
Like, are you still respected for the deeds that you did, or are you just kind of forgotten about?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
Like, they'll make songs about you. They'll sing about you in their mead halls.
Right.
You'll live forever in their legends.
Yeah, like, that is what you are, is that moment of glory.
Yes. Leman Russ is the Russ. He is a legend. I talked about how he's like, people think he's a giant. He's a storm. He's a black wolf that is the omen of doom. And he's also a man. He's all these things, really.
If he was to hit on a girl, would he have Leman Riz?
I hate this. She's smiling at me. I hate this. Leman Russ gained a reputation known as the Executioner.
Oh, spoopy.
So the Emperor would deploy Leman Russ whenever he needed someone to die. And Leman Russ, he got the fucking job done.
Right.
So because of this, and his personality, some of his brothers found it kind of difficult to get along with him. But honestly, Leman couldn't give a fuck.
Right.
He doesn't care.
He's in his own lane.
He's like, I know my strength.
Yeah.
I'm in my own lane, bro. Don't come into my house. Upturn my dining room table. Notably, a brother that did not like him was Lionel Johnson.
Oh, interesting.
I wonder, and this might be a bit tinfoil hatty, I wonder if that has any influence because of Game of Thrones. The wolf and the lion don't like each other.
I think that's common imagery, though. Like, also.
I mean, maybe, but, given how much Games Workshop takes from other media, I wouldn't be surprised. And
it totally could be.
I also don't know when exactly that lore was established, because the Primarchs used to just be dudes. They were just generals.
They were just, like, high up guys.
Yeah. What's a Primarch? That wasn't a thing. And then, they were like, oh, this Horus Heresy stuff's pretty popular. Let's retcon some stuff.
Deepen the lore a little bit.
Let's deepen it a little.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know much about Lionel. Lionel?
Yeah, we haven't talked about Lion yet.
It sounds like they almost fill a similar character type.
Yes, they're very similar.
Which oftentimes people who are similar don't like each other.
Yes. I can give you a bit of a basis here. Leman Russ is the type of guy who, he gets the job done. Mm-hmm. Lionel Johnson might go a little overboard.
Okay.
If Leman Russ had the job to kill one guy, Leman would do it. He would kill that one guy.
Right.
Lion would kill the guy and anyone else who got in his way. Now, I am exaggerating a bit.
Okay.
But this is to talk about, like, they disagreed with, like, how to do things.
Yeah, methods differ.
Yes. We'll talk more about Lionel and Russ's relationship when we have more context for Lionel Johnson as a character.
Yeah.
And, they have often dueled and fought each other and butted heads.
Right.
But again, whenever Lion came up, Leman would be like, oh yeah, I respect him.
Yeah.
I respect his strength. And Lion is like, no.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, because of how Leman Russ came off and acted, he's like kind of like the laid back Viking, as we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. A lot of his brothers and his enemies underestimated him.
Right.
And he knew that.
Yeah.
And he would use that to his advantage.
Right. That makes sense. Because he's not like, he doesn't like show off.
No, he doesn't. And because of this, he didn't necessarily mind his relationship with his dad. He and Emps, they had sort of a business relationship. He was the executioner.
Right.
He got a job. He would go do it. But he did get along with Malcador.
Oh.
Really, really well.
Fair. We all have that one, like, aunt or uncle. No, we don't. We don't all. But, like, a lot of people do.
Malcador with a shirt that just says, I'm not the stepdad, I'm the dad who stepped up. So sometimes when they were either on a crusade or they were back at Terra or something, Leman and Malcador would play games. They would play like something like chess with each other pretty frequently, in which Russ would always take the piece that started with the disadvantage.
Interesting.
Because not only did Leman Russ, incredible fighter, an incredible tactician as well.
Yeah, right.
And he found it fun to try to find a way of like, I'm at overwhelming odds. How can I win though? And Malcador really liked indulging that. He's like, yeah, no, you should be interacting with this.
Right.
And so, he had a dad that encouraged it and it made him a better leader.
And Malcador's like losing. He's like sitting there getting traumatized and he doesn't know that Leman has a secret ghost behind him playing all the games for him that's been playing Go for 500 years. And Malcador is like, how could this happen? And then chases him throughout the streets of Tokyo.
After seething for 5 days.
That's the greatest opening to an anime.
What a crazy show. Oh my god.
So good. Hikaru no Go.
Yeah, that's the one. Insane.
It's great.
Insane show.
If you like board game anime, it's done by the same artist who did like Death Note. So very, very good. It's very good. Anyway.
So we talked about how Leman Russ, he, for the most part, got along with his brothers. And if they didn't like him, he didn't really mind. Except for one. He fucking hates Magnus.
Oh, really? Okay.
He fucking hates Magnus. So, out of all of his siblings, he disagreed with Magnus on fundamentally everything.
That makes sense, because Magnus is the one who's going to fall to Tzeentch, right? Who's like tricksy and not necessarily honor-bound.
Yes. So, not only that, Space Wolves, Leman Russ, they don't fucking like magic.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
Okay.
Because it goes against tactics and combat and honor. To them, they're like, magic, that's cheating.
Yeah, okay.
That's bullshit.
It's outside of the rules.
Yeah, and so what the hell?
But he was fine with it when Emps grew, and that's why he beat him in a fight.
Well, we'll talk more about the hypocrisy of their psyker thing in just a second.
Okay.
But basically, Leman Russ and Magnus would butt heads constantly.
Fair. That's gotta hurt, because Magnus has the horns.
He does have that. That's so true. So they would almost actually start fighting each other, and not like sibling fighting where it's like, uncle, like not like that, but like they wanted to kill each other.
It's like Inuyasha versus Shomaru.
But they basically had situations where their other brothers or even Emperor or Malkador had to be like, no, you two, shut it down. Stop
it.
You're escalating too much.
Stop it. Get some help.
Get some help. The elaboration of Psychers.
Right.
So because of this sibling rivalry, a lot of people in the fandom simplify that the idea that Leman Russ hates all Psychers, despite his legion having rune priests who are Psychers.
Yeah, but that's the ancient magics. That's different.
So here's the elaboration. Rune priests respect the warp.
Okay.
They understand the warp, they respect it, and they never push the boundary.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Magnus and his legion, the Thousand Sons, are like, what if we made it blow up? What if we push that boundary as far as we can go? And so it leads to this sort of rivalry where they're like, stop messing with this nuke. And the Thousand Sons are like, but why not?
Leman Russ is the paladin who knows the mechanics, and Magnus is the reaper who's going to use the LB because it's full. That's why he's going to use it.
Dude, we're about to wipe. What did you do?
So the rune priests, they're from Fenris.
Yes.
And okay, so Leman lands on Fenris, and Fenris isn't doing the best, but it already kind of has... Like, the people there are traveled in the sense of, like, they understand what the warp is and they can use it.
Remember the whole cutoff of all the planets and stuff, so they probably just saw it as, oh, it's magic.
Yeah, but by understand what it is, I mean, like...
They're aware of its existence.
They have interacted with it. They might not know exactly what's going on, but they have... Yeah. They can use it.
Some, yes.
They have practiced with it. I'm just trying to understand how these guys would have been there already. That's all.
Well, all humans, no matter what, have a chance of becoming a Psyker upon being born. This led to the whole, like, the Age of Strife. Whenever Psykers started to really become much more common, they were, renounced as witches, or a whole bunch of bad stuff happened to a bunch of Psykers during the Age of Strife. And only when, they actually had worth, they stopped killing all of them.
Yeah.
Which is,
It's like how having a knowledge of the healing arts,
not great,
quote unquote, realistically, you're going to use similar methods all over the world in the sense of like put pressure on a wound and like, hydrate when you're sick or something. But like, it's going to look very different depending on if a society comes up on its own, they're going to have different ways of explaining it. Because we make up...
But where are the leeches?
Yeah, where are the freaking leeches, man?
Where are the leeches?
You haven't even mentioned which humor is off.
Oh! Ugh. I can't believe it. Interesting note about rune priests. Despite them actually being Psychers, some of them just openly hate Psychers. They're like, are you a Psyker? Fuck off, you suck.
Yeah.
You and I, we are not the same.
Right.
I'm a rune priest.
It kind of gives me Mechanicus vibes.
A little bit, like with the Necrons.
Well, a little bit. Just in like, they don't understand that they're doing the same thing. Kind of a vibe.
It's a little bit of that and a little bit of also... Some might genuinely see a difference.
Right.
Like morally. And so they are like, do not associate me with those freaks.
Yeah. It's like how when I was a kid, I'd make fun of kids who watch Star Trek, and then I'd go home and watch Space. And the only difference was that I couldn't read the words that popped up at the beginning of the episode. It's the same thing, I just didn't know. I couldn't read the runes.
As far as the origin story of Leman Russ... That's about it.
Oh.
He was a man who became king. He's got some wolf friends and doesn't really like Psychers all that much. But Leman Russ would go on to do many great things in the Great Crusade, some of which we will talk about later, especially when we get to that, little Horus Heresy kind of thing. But yeah, this is a pretty baseline, here's his deal, just like the Horus episode. So yeah. How you feeling? How you like Leman?
I mean, he seems chill. I like somebody who's like big on honor and stuff. I think he got bamboozled with this whole deal thing. I think He needed a buddy to come in and be like, bro, you didn't lose. That's why you need a lawyer, you know? Always have a lawyer look over the contract before you actually sign off.
If Emps comes knocking in your mead hall, you need to be like, I need my attorney. 1 second.
You think Malkador ever was sitting there talking about him and he was like relaying what had happened and Malkador was like, that bastard did what?
Oh, no.
So these wolves are like, they're not like wolves on Earth. Like, they're not just big. They're also more intelligent, right?
Yeah, this is why I specified they're like dire wolves. They're big, they're intelligent, and there are no wolves on Fenris.
Okay, what does that mean? Wait, to finish off the like they're more intelligent thing, can he like commune with them?
Define commune, because they can't talk.
Could he like give them an order in a way?
Yes.
And they would know what...
You know Mouse in the Dresden Files?
Yeah.
That.
Okay. They're magic.
Like, this dog is...
They're probably somewhat psychery sensitive themselves.
So, there are no wolves on Fenris.
Except for that one.
Let's talk about that.
And that one. And that one. And Mama.
So let's talk about this. During one of the Horus Heresy books, there is a moment in which Magnus comes to a realization. And he smirks to himself, and he mumbles, there are no wolves on Fenris. Fenris, the planet, does not naturally have wolves in its ecosystem.
Okay.
They were also not introduced by any means from any of the ages past. So where the fuck did they come from?
Evolution?
The theory goes, and it's all but like actually said, the dire wolves are humans who have evolved over the course of thousands and thousands of years to become dire wolves.
So they're like werewolves almost. If you took away the like obvious like going back and forth
transformation
aspect, they are man become wolf, man wolf. Werewolf.
So there are like stories in which Leman Russ goes back to Fenris and he's like chilling, doing his whole thing.
Right.
He like goes hunting and stuff. And there is a moment in one where he has to protect himself from a dire wolf and he kills it very quickly. And he's very sad. Because not only is it like another human being, but it's also like to him, that's like his family.
Well,
you know, he grew up with these guys.
I mean, if I had to kill a dog, God forbid, I'd be mortified.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But yeah, no, there are no wolves on Fenris. They, you know.
It would be more accurate to say there were no wolves on Fenris. But you could say that about literally any animal on any planet.
What do you mean?
There were no dolphins on Earth. They evolved.
You're breaking it down
There
too
were
much.
no humans on Earth. Like... I understand, and I guess what Magnus is probably smirking about is that we literally have the records as far back as this point of when there were no wolves.
Yes.
Like, we have records that say all the animals that are on Fenris, and at one point there's a record far enough back that doesn't have any wolves.
I always read the line within context. You know, out of context, it's like kind of this cryptic, like, what the hell do you mean?
No, I get it.
In context, I've always read it as more of a realization of he's realized those aren't wolves. There are no wolves. It's all people.
Yeah. Or anything else. Like, again, I understand what you're saying, but logically... Like, there are no woolly mammoths on Earth, but we're cloning some.
Yeah, but we're still a while away from that.
So that doesn't mean that they're mammoths. Like, I understand in context, but it's a little bit of a jump. It's funny to go to it must be magic human bullshit rather than...
It's fucking Warhammer.
Rather than maybe they came on a pod too.
Why would that happen? We don't have any records of that.
Why do people introduce reticulated pythons into Florida?
I don't know.
Why are there wolves on Fenris? I don't know. There are no reticulated pythons in Florida. Oh.
I understand what you're saying, but also, like, I also...
It's very cool, and I get it. I'm excited to, like, get to that point.
Why are you critiquing this thing that I like?
No, I'm not. Like, again, it's very cool. I think it's cool, and I am very excited to kind of, like, know more about Magnus. And I can see that being a cool moment of realization for the character and stuff. It's just funny, because the way I think immediately is, like, but there are so many other possibilities.
you're thinking about this logically. This is Warhammer.
But it's also funny to me that, like, the tube baby of the giant glowing man who is going to fall to the god of chaos and trickery.
Yep.
Is like, how did the wolves get there?
Bro, it's just like the Go anime. He's just sitting in a dark room, fucking seething, going like, but how are the wolves? But how? Bro, he's seething.
That's why he's gonna fall to Zinch, because he's like, you gotta have the answers. Oh no.
I made an OC, I called it Moon, and Leman Russ called me cringe.
Like, it's literally more likely that somebody took a dog to Fenris and, like, evolutionarily it went backwards, kind of.
I don't know.
Like, that could happen.
That could, I guess. I mean, it happens to pigs, right? They, if the pig goes out in the wild, they become like a hog. They grow like tusks and shit.
A wolf is just the form of a dog that does better in the wild.
Yeah.
They are able to protect themselves.
But what if people?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess the form of people that is best able to survive in the wild, quote unquote, considering, like, we made society, would be like, what, gorillas? Like, I'm not sure. I guess bonobos
like
are technically, like, the closest to humans.
Or, yeah, bonobos. Yeah. Magnus in a dark room reading Animorphs, and he's like, I get it.
Holy shit.
I figured it out, dude.
He's looking at the cover and, like, moving the, like, holographic back and forth, like, oh my god. And he's flipping through the pages and seeing the animal move. You know how if you flip through the pages in the Animorph books, it's like an animation?
Oh, I never actually read the Animorph books. I'm sorry. I'm a fraud.
What?
I'm sorry.
Wait, Beastars or whatever. Not Beastars. Wait, Mighty Beasts. What's it called? Beast Wars.
Beast Wars. Yeah. That was the Transformers thing. Magnus watching the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing movie.
Great movie.
And he's just pointing at the screen, like screaming, going like, that's how it happened!
Magnus is watching the Vampire Diaries like, holy shit.
Dude, I know how the Blood Angels work!
Oh my god! We gotta get some, what was it? Vervain? I can't remember.
Do you have any questions about Mr. Leman Russ and his space wolves?
I'm curious about things that he does, but I think we're gonna get more into that as we talk more about, like, the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, you're wondering about, like, specific battles and
stuff. Yeah, like, stuff he's known for.
Most of what his time was in the Great Crusade was him either being the executioner,
right,
or participating in larger scale sieges,
right,
in which case he was, like, as we talked about earlier, like a menace on the battlefield, a one-man army.
Yeah. Are the runes basically literally like runes?
Yeah, they're runes.
Yeah.
They also have an insane process to actually becoming a space wolf that's like, it's a whole thing. And I'm saving that for when we talk about the space wolves proper, with like their actual onboarding process and sort of.
But it must basically begin with like the general Space Marine process.
Kind of. There's like a little more to it than that.
It's like you do the whole Space Marine process and then you have to stand in the room with this dog, and if it doesn't like you, you're not in.
There's a chapter of Space Marines that I really like called The Exorcists, that they literally, like, in order to train you to hunt demons better, they make a demon get summoned and possess you, and if you lose, they just kill you, but if you win, they're like, you're fucking sick. It's awesome. I love The Exorcists. They're really fun.
Does she weigh the same as a duck?
There was a Tumblr post I saw a long time ago that was like, Primarchs reacting to you coming out as trans.
Oh, yeah. And he was like, let's have a drink or whatever.
Yeah, Leman Russ is like, I'm glad you found yourself. Let's go for a drink. He's super chill. He's the bro.
He's just like, I too have that dog inside me, Liz.
Bark with me if you are my dogs.
Wait, do you think he sees those, like, there are two wolves inside you memes?
And he's like, they're right here.
He's like, no, it's B-side.
Leman Russ scrolling through the internet and just finding moon memes. Ancient moon memes, and going like, this is so funny. Malkador, come look at this.
Look at this. Gramps.
Malkador's like, I don't get it.
And he's eating his nuggies. Malkador brings him extra ketchup because it looks like blood, so he knows he likes it. Oh. So obviously he's got his Legion of Space Wolves, which includes a few wolves.
Yeah, they've got like giant cyber wolves.
Yeah. What about the guys? Like because when we talked about Horus, we talked about aesthetically what the guys look like.
Oh, yeah.
Could you show me some of the guys?
Absolutely.
And like what the symbol is and stuff?
So Space Wolves, their logo is a wolf.
Why is Keanu Reeves there?
Don't worry about that.
What do you...
So this is the Space Wolves logo.
Mm-hmm.
It is a black wolf on a typically yellow shoulder pad. Their armor is a grayish blue.
Okay.
Or maybe it's more accurate to say a bluish gray.
I bet people love freehanding this.
Well, typically there's like transfers and stuff like that you can just like put on there. They often have bone necklaces or just lots of runes and symbols adorning their armor. They have a really cool color scheme. And oftentimes you'll see them without their helmets on because, you know, maybe some of them have this idea that it's like dishonorable. I remember hearing a story, and I can't remember if this is real. This might be a meme story, so don't worry about it if it's, you know, I'm not trying to make fun of Space Wolves, but there was like a story about an assassin hired to take out a Space Wolf sergeant. And he comes back the next day and they're like, wow, that was really fast. How'd you do it? And he's like, the idiot wasn't wearing a helmet. I shot him.
I would think that it would be almost, because they're almost more animalistic, they wouldn't want their senses interfered with.
That makes sense too. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh, true. During the Heresy, their armor was actually a lot darker. It was like more of a gray.
Right.
But that kind of goes par for the course for most Heresy armor sets, is that they were a lot darker, more knightly often as well. But they still had the runes and they favor axes, obviously. They usually have wolf pelts or wolf things around them. Oftentimes, there are a lot of people who kit bash or they'll 3D print a sub-faction, essentially, of Space Wolves, the Space Bears.
Cool.
Pretty cool.
If you were gonna make a Stark Space Marine,
this is a good
this would be what you would go with.
Yes. They often have wolf helmets sometimes.
Oh, cool.
There is a bit of a meme of how their units are named. Their whole thing of you use the wolf gun with the wolf armor, and you have to be in your wolf squad in the wolf tank and blah, 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 blah. It's kind of silly, but like...
I see.
The wolf name can get a little absurd sometimes.
Right.
In 40k, there's actually a unit called the Wolfen.
That's a Lionel.
Yeah, so these dudes are the Wolfen. They're werewolves.
Yeah, they look like part wig in between.
I hate the models. They look very ugly. I don't like them.
They literally look like Lionel.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much their armor sets.
Okay, he doesn't really get along with Magnus. He doesn't really get along with Lionel.
Mm.
Are there any of his brothers that he does get along with? Or would you describe him as a lone wolf?
Oh... I see what you did there.
I'm also just asking, but it set itself up.
He got along with most of his brothers. It's easier to talk about the loyalist primarchs in who they didn't get along with, because for the most part, they were indifferent to liking their brothers.
So he's not gonna fall.
No, Leman Russ will be a loyalist. He is still active and alive in 40k. Currently, he's in the Warp.
What if Slaanesh came along and challenged him to 3 challenges? And then actually did outdrink him, and then also kicked his ass.
Would he stay true to his word? Or would he go like foul demon and then, you know, go to town? I don't know.
Or Khorne. I feel like it would be Khorne or Slaanesh.
Khorne is probably pretty upset that he didn't get the Space Wolves.
Yeah. I just thought Slaanesh because the 2 things that he had actually won would probably be Slaanesh's wheelhouse.
Yeah. Well, there's I hesitate to call it a fan fiction, but that's kind of what it is. It's basically a what if alternate universe of the Horus Heresy called the Dornian Heresy, in which case like a bunch of different players fall to the gods and whatnot. And I think, if I'm remembering right, the Space Wolves go to Khorne in that one.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. They've got the axes, they've got the battle thing. They don't like magic.
Yeah.
It all fits. But through and through, the Space Wolves, even if they have little tiffs with the Imperium of Man, especially in 40k, because, you know, the Imperium sucks, they are extremely loyal to, like, the Emperor and Russ especially.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, dogs are loyal.
Arf, arf.
Bark, bark. Are there any games where you play as the Primarchs or like interact with the Primarchs a lot?
No.
Really?
No.
So like
really.
They don't have like official voices or anything yet?
Audiobooks, if you consider that, but
It's all Richard.
Oh, Richard Reed?
Yeah. Shout out to Richard.
I mean,
I was just curious. It came to mind Ramsay Bolton was mentioned when we recorded Fantasy, and I was like, that would be funny.
Ramsay Bolton would voice Conrad Kurz, that actor.
Conrad?
That gives you a pretty good vibe.
I don't know who that is. I assume he's another Primarch.
Yeah, he's another Primarch. He skins people as a hobby.
Conrad?
Conrad Kurz.
You're naming your kids Magnus.
He didn't name
Conrad,
them.
I know, he got Chad to do it.
He didn't name them. Oh, speaking of this, there was a comment that talked about the idea of the Emperor being responsible for the kids getting launched into space.
Right.
Like, he set it all up. And talking about Leman Russ, you know, we have a couple more Primarchs under our belt. And as we go forward, it's going to become more apparent. Man, it's really weird. They end up on planets that really fit into, like, what they're good at.
I would say that when he launched his kids into space, he became less apparent.
Yeah.
Although that's what we're saying is we don't necessarily know that he or whoever.
Yeah.
But no, yeah.
It's a bit of an odd coincidence that, you know, they end up on all these places that it's like, oh, your skills in particular are really useful here.
It is, but it could also be a self-fulfilling thing. Like, he grows up on this winter battle planet. He's going to learn skills. Like, perhaps one of the things with why the Primarchs are so powerful is because something in their DNA allows them to, like, rapidly adapt to whatever circumstance they grow up in.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a longer form of Nergui turning into Horus. His just all happened at once for some reason. But maybe, like, the other Primarchs, it was like...
Yeah.
I remember I read a book once. It was a young adult novel called Graceling by Kristen Cashore. Mild spoilers coming up for the book if you want to click ahead. Certain people in this world are born with like a special heightened ability called a grace. It's like a magic divine gift. Like some people, they can see an object once and paint it perfectly every single time from any angle. Or some people, it's like they're perfect archers. The whole book, the main character, she doesn't know what her ability is, really. Because it's so, like, she seems to just be, like, a perfect warrior. Like, she can do anything, almost, as long as she needs to do it. And it turns out, basically, her ability is survival.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So if what she needs to do is sleep for 3 hours, she can literally like tell herself, I now will sleep for 3 hours and sleep for exactly 3 hours and then wake up before whatever is going to happen is going to happen.
Huh.
If she needs to shoot someone in the eye, she can shoot that person in the eye on the first try.
She's got plot armor. Bro.
Yeah, but at least it's written in to make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
It was an interesting concept, and I wonder if the Primarchs just have plot armor.
I mean, yeah, they do.
It's like how I was saying my theory with the names is kind of like, it's less so that they were named perfectly for what they were going to be, and almost maybe more that they became what they were named.
Yeah, that could definitely be part of it. I think your theory has a lot of weight to it because I never even put that together with the whole like Horus received an actual name and then he like actually became who he is. And I think that's very valid to say. I think that's exactly what happened.
It's also like, it would go along with the theories behind cognitive behavioral therapy in that we know the words we use, especially concerning ourselves, actually does affect how we think and act. Like, for instance, if every time you make a mistake, you think I'm a fucking idiot, I'm useless. After you say something like that to yourself over and over and over again, which is called negative self-talk, or if you consistently hear it from somebody who has some kind of power over you, like a boss or a parent, which is literally the definition of verbal or emotional abuse, you actually do believe that. And so you don't try as hard. You don't try as often. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You fall into this cycle, and eventually, you know, that leads down the road of depression and bad times. But if you can correct that, if you can become conscious of the way that you think about things, and when you make a mistake, you go, oh, I made a mistake, and leave it at that, and then just correct yourself or move on, you will actually begin to, like, try more often, try other things. So if your name is Angron, and everybody's always calling you Angron, and every time you lose your temper, they're like, oh, there goes Angron.
What if we put nails in his head that make him unreasonably fuck-ass mad, and he can never not be mad?
If you can't escape the name.
Oh, no.
it is interesting to me, because we know that the Emps is psychic. In the sense of, like, omniscient almost. Like, he can see the future a little bit.
He's the bestest psycherish ever.
So it makes sense that people are kind of wondering if when things happen, he knew that and had set things up knowing that.
He, like, almost put the coordinates in.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that oftentimes you see that assumed and asked about as opposed to a different order of events. I'm just looking at it as a third variable in the sense of like, what if this was the causation as opposed to this other thing? And I'm sure there are a lot of cases where it's both. And I don't just mean names, I just mean any kind of external factor or stimulus that may have contributed to their phenotype, essentially.
It's just really fascinating that like they turned into things that specifically the Emperor needed.
Yeah.
The Emperor needed an executioner. Okay, well, Leman Russ grew up on a planet where he's really good at battling things, and he has a sense of honor, and he's really good at leading and following orders. Oh, okay, all right.
And it makes me very curious what the Emperor's plan would have been had they not been shot out.
Yeah.
Did he have like a training field set up and was gonna like, you know?
So from what I've heard, and don't quote me on this because I haven't done research on it, but from what I've been told, there is an account in one of the books that states in the Golden Palace, the gigantic, you know, whatever palace in the Himalayas, that's like as big as a continent or whatever, like it's unreasonably large. Inside of that palace,
the villa,
in the villa, there are bedrooms, each made for each Primarch.
Oh no! This is the whole baby shoes for sale, never worn. Jesus Christ! He's like crying over their empty cribs.
Oh! Dude, why did it happen?
Oh, that's sad.
Oh!
Aww.
Oh no.
He's just sitting there crying and holding like Horus's empty bassinet, and like all the other ones have like a for sale sign on them, but he's like,
oh, my baby boy!
My Emperor, you had so many others.
My one baby boy! My true son! My perfect son!
He's trying to dismantle Vulcans, but he can't screw them.
Oh, it's so tightly made. Oh,
man.
Shit. But yeah.
Oh, that's sad. That made me a little sad there.
Yeah, well,
it's
not great.
Oh, I mean, at least I guess he finds them all. But I don't know. I mean, in a lot of stories or like culture kind of things, part of training or part of their education is to go on a kind of almost a pilgrimage, to go somewhere else, learn from that culture, teach in that culture, provide for a place that you've never been before, travel, and then come back with what you've gained from that. So it would have made sense that that would be part of the intended training at some point. Just maybe not, you know, babbies.
Yeah. Not super.
Not
babies.
just literally like infants.
Yeah.
You know, I assume he would have, as he was raising them, if things had gone not that way, he would have like traveled around with them.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's sort of the fascinating thing is that we'll never know.
I would love, you know, how we have like a manga of Final Fantasy 14, but they're all in high school.
You want an AU?
I want an AU of 40k, but they all get to go to high school.
Oh no, Gilliman's got a girlfriend.
Oh, she's kind of freaky. She's like a goth girl. They're all teasing him about it. Magnus is always doing chemistry experiments.
Which Primarch are you? The racist.
Oh, no.
The racist. The racist.
Oh, no.
Which one?
They're always telling Leman he can't bring his dog into class.
So he brings the other one. He's like, will you say anything about this one? My love, would you like to know the next Primarch on our list?
Yes, I would. I'm curious.
I wish I could tell you because they've been deleted from Imperial records.
Is that because they were a woman?
We don't know.
The Lost Primarchs were dogs.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Leman Russ might be responsible.
For the Lost Primarch?
For killing them.
What?
At one point, someone mentions the Lost Primarchs, and Leman Russ makes like a remark going like, yeah, I killed them. Because he's the executioner, right?
Okay. We don't know anything about these Lost Primarchs.
Nothing.
We just know that there is like 2 extra bedrooms Like, that's all we know, right?
We know they were found, and they were part of the Great Crusade for some time.
Oh.
And then they did something that was so horrible.
So the other Primarchs did meet them at one point.
Some of them met them, some of them didn't.
Okay.
But they did something. We don't know what.
Perhaps a heresy. Something.
And into the burn book they go.
To the point where they're never acknowledged.
They have been deleted from Imperial records. There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
There are no wolves on Fenris.
What do you mean 20 Primarchs? You mean 18? Smile?
So, does anybody ever, like, ask questions? Like, is this ever, like, a thing where somebody asks a thing and everybody's like, there is no war in Ba Sing Se?
Allegedly, in the Imperial Palace, there's a giant tapestry of the Emperor and all 20 Primarchs.
Yeah.
There's another thing where Malkador has a chair that, in the artwork, has a skull. Like, they have etched into their heads the legion numbers that they were.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's their skulls, who knows?
So they've got, like, the black family tapestry, and then they've got the, like, faces burned off, maybe.
Yeah. There's, like, a couple references, but there's not enough to actually have a solid idea of, like, what happened.
There is enough that we know they were there.
We know there was someone here. What happened? Shut up. We don't talk about it.
It's interesting because I wonder if one of the reasons we don't talk about it is because there is that overarching implication that if you fuck up, you'll be next.
There is that implication. There is a couple moments that we'll talk about later in the heresy where when some Primarchs fuck up, some of the brothers who are usually against each other speak up in defense for their brothers that they might not like because they're like, I don't want to lose another sibling.
Like, as we go into the 50th millennium, as we could go past 40k.
Okay, we're going past 40k.
Is Horus never mentioned again? Is his face burned off, the tapestries?
No, because what he did was so bad that we can't let it happen again, so we need to... I see the burn book situation of the two Primarchs. I guess this has also become like a Leman Russ / Lost Primarchs episode.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah, but like, there's not enough to make like a dedicated episode, so, you know, it's kind of all fitting into one thing.
It's like how we talked about Gene Seed for 20 minutes, that one.
True. The idea that I've always gotten, and this is sort of maybe my own headcanon, is that we delete the two Primarchs who were lost. Officially, they're called the Lost Primarchs.
Right.
We don't know what happened to them. And I think the reason why all of the data from them has been expunged is because during the Great Crusade, you know, that's Emp at his prime. He is in the Great Crusade. He is like spreading the word, you know, the Imperial truth, all that jazz. And so if we have a record of this massive fuck up, that makes us look stupid.
Right.
That makes us look incompetent. That decreases our strength. So shut up.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it.
Yeah. My brain is kind of coming up with different scenarios that it could have been. Like, I wonder if they unalived themselves or like were defeated in battle. What if it's as simple as that? They actually just were defeated. Thus, we don't talk about them.
Did they go into the warp and never come back? Did they fight an alien species that just annihilated them outright? Did they
retire and change their identity and now we can't find them?
Did they find out what their mom did and take her side?
Like,
who knows?
We don't know if they're alive or not.
Officially, they're lost.
Yeah, but I get lost in the kitchen when I forget why I went in there.
Officially, we don't know if they're alive, dead, missing, whatever.
Yeah. It is a big mystery.
Out of lore, I think entirely the reason why there are two missing Primarchs is so you can have your own homebrew Space Marine chapter of like, my Space Marines are part of the Lost Primarchs. And because they're lost and there's no records of them, you can literally do whatever you want. Mine are women.
What if it was like Kairos?
Okay.
In that they can't see. They can only see the future and the past, but they can't navigate. So they're literally completely lost. They have no idea where they are at any point. They're just running around space like
dark space.
Hello? Dad!
Where'd you guys go?
Their compass got all fucked up because they went by like a magnetic field.
They went by the bugs and it messed up their navigation.
Yeah. You could explain it in several ways and it could, like, there are two. So it's like one could have this happened and one could have a totally different thing happened.
Yeah. Exactly. And also, like,
I think the idea of one of them just having been defeated is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost a shame. Like, it's a shame thing, so we're just...
You failed.
Yeah.
The punishment is death. Die.
Because I know that at least 2 of the Primarchs are gonna die by the end of the heresy.
Sure.
I can't remember exactly. I'm kind of asking. This is why I'm not saying, like, this person and this person.
My lips are sealed.
Well, I just mean, like...
I'll never tell.
Obviously, other than Vulcan, they can die.
Yeah. Yeah. If they die, it's like cutscene death.
No!
It's over.
Even if you're a healer?
Even if you're a healer, it's over.
I have expected benefit!
Unless they write some, doohickey that can bring them back or whatever.
Right, we love a doohickey.
We love a retcon. I love it.
I'd be interested to see if they ever approach it.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's just sitting there.
Yeah, it's an idea that they could always bring back of just like, and here's the Lost Primarchs. They're back. Here they are.
Do you remember those old toys that you could get that were like, make your own candy bugs? Or like make your own like things, and it would be like the slime.
Era?
Yeah, it would be like the slime, and then you could like pick the colors and like put it in the mold. What if they made one of those, but it's like a Primarch? Like, make your own Primarch machine.
And then you eat it.
And then you can eat them.
Yeah. Bricky, get on it.
You can be that guy who makes literally anything out of chocolate.
Oh.
What a guy. Let's get him to make an army.
Oh, the most delicious Space Marines.
I always thought it would be funny to make, like, one of your guys out of chocolate, and then when he gets beaten, just, like, nonchalantly eat him in front of your opponent and not say anything.
My opponent confused how they're losing, me who's been eating the pieces when they're not looking.
You are a tyrannid.
To give you a real answer of who we're talking about next.
Okay.
The Primarch Ferrus Manus.
Pretty boy.
No.
But not number 9.
No, Ferrus Manus.
Oh, wait. Iron Man. No, Hand
Iron
Man.
Hands.
Hand Man.
Yes. Our next Primarch to discuss is Ferrus Manus. Iron Hands. Primarch of the Iron Hands. On the ship, the Iron Hands. Guess what their gimmick is?
He gets a little handsy.
They've got fucking iron hands.
So we were just talking about the Starks, now we're going to the Lannister.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But less gold, more iron.
Yeah. It wasn't a perfect
the
metaphor.
Ironborn!
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Excited.
Iron Bjorn!
Oh, fuck. I'm afraid to talk about Ferrus Manus because he has not a whole lot of lore. And it kind of sucks because it's not that his lore is written badly. It's more of he's kind of treated as a character that serves as another character's development.
I see.
He's like a plot device, and that kind of stinks. I'm going to do my best to really hype up Ferrus Manus because I think the Iron Hands are cool. Iron Hands fans listening to this, like, I'm going to do my best to give your Primarch the best I can give him. But there's not a whole lot I can do. So if you have any suggestions...
Let us know.
Let us know, please. You know who's after him, though?
Someone's after him?
Well, yeah, there's like, we've got 20 of these guys, pretty much.
Oh, I thought you meant like after him in the sense of like, they're trying to get him, chasing him.
Oh.
And I was like...
No.
I don't know, an orc? What? I don't know. Is it Vulcan?
Fulgrim.
Oh, Fulgrim! I know him!
Number 9.
1, 2... Wait. Horus? Wolf Boy? Hands. Shouldn't we be at 4?
Need I remind you that the Legion numbers and the Primarchs found do not correlate?
Oh, okay. That's where I'm getting mixed up.
For example, Leman Russ is number 2 that we have found, but he is in charge of the 6th Legion. So it's a little confusing, but yeah.
Got it. No, it makes sense. I just keep forgetting it, and because I'm associating it to the
No,
number.
me too.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
It's like when you start getting into the Final Fantasies and you're like, okay, but Final Fantasy X-2 actually came out after Final Fantasy 14, and then
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. Like, that's not even starting on Fate's Day Night, which is like the Lost Primarchs.
Good fucking luck.
Of anime. Have fun. So do you think when they pulled out the stuff for the feast, part of that was kibble, right?
Duh! Wet food! Oh, it's my birthday!
Oh, we're going hard tonight. It's a raw meat diet.
Oh, Dad, I love you.
Oh, Malkador, like, feeds him little dog treats when nobody's looking.
Oh.
Teaches him tricks. They go out for walks.
Thank you again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to play it for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox right now using the link in the pinned comment or the description. New and returning players that haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack across all platforms, including multiple premium vehicles and other goodies. Available for a limited time only, so make sure you don't miss it. What is your favorite Pokemon, Digimon, and/or dog breed?
So I feel like the answer is Articuno, and especially because I'm drawn to like ice types, but at the same time, I love Axew so much.
Axew's good.
I just want a little Axew.
I think Axew might be my pick, honestly.
I love Axew.
I love him. And also, it helps that Axew's evolutions are just like the sickest shit.
Badass.
They're awesome.
Fracture? Are you kidding
I think it's
me?
Axew.
Axew would make a cool Tyrannid.
True. The colors?
Yeah.
Yes.
Digimon, I would say Gatomon and all of her Digivolutions.
I don't really know Digimon that well.
Yet.
That's true. I do like, what's the red one? It looks like a Velociraptor.
Yeah, I'm just
He goes Takatomon, but that's not his name.
Guiomon.
Yeah, that's the one. Dog breed.
Bernese Mountain Dog.
I'm surprisingly not
Newfies.
allergic to them.
Yeah, I also really like Irish Terriers and Shih Tzus and French Bulldogs.
I really like French Bulldogs. They're adorable.
Cute. Yeah.
Will Alex ever appear in a video with Ava and Kari? Also, since it was asked last time, can John get a raise?
0 times 0 is still 0.
$1. You get $1. Are there any movies, TV shows, anime, and/or games that are just downright bad objectively, but you can't help but love? I'm weirdly fascinated by that movie George Lucas made for his daughter, Strange Magic.
I mean, I really like bad monster movies, like The Meg.
I agree.
And things like that. I just think it's so funny.
Bad monster movies are great.
There's something about bad horror. I like Sword Art Online, which is like a lot of people hate it, but I was the age it was marketed at, and I'm talking like season 1. I like watching other people play bad games. I'm down with that. I can't. What's the game with the one? What's the guy whose name is like Spite or whatever?
Anonymous Agony! Wow, Dad, isn't it society's fault that I'm the way I am?
Oh my God. Smoothie time.
Smoothie. If you're this far in the video, firstly, hey, thanks for watching. Secondly, go watch Mandalore Gaming's videos on Anonymous Agony and all of his Halloween stuff. It's fantastic. It's amazing.
And leave a comment that says smoothie time so you
Does Bruno Mars is gay?
Why not bi?
True. Does Bruno Mars is bi? That's
Bruno
the question
Mars
I respond with.
Pan?
Your choices will decide the fate of this world. And all that inhabit it. Make the right one.